I mean, at least she has a sense of humor.
I like that one.
What's up, people? Oh my God, I feel like it's been so long. So you may not know this about us, but we actually record these podcasts every week, like every single week, like clockwork. And Liv went out of town last week, so we recorded 2 in 1 week. And it's I feel like it's been so long.
It's been so long.
Anyway, so what's up, team? Mike Frank with Frank Oliver Collective here at eXp Realty with Andrea.
What's up, y'all?
It's been a minute since Andrea's been with us.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
It's been a fun minute. Anyway, so we were just talking about like the questions that buyers have when they're looking to buy a house, right? Kind of the things that they don't know before they even start the process. And so Liv was like, well, I've never bought a house, so let's talk about that, right? What are the questions that you have? And she was like, well, how much can I afford to spend on a home? What is a home inspection? What are my closing costs? What are the other ones, right? The importance of getting pre-approved. How do I choose the right agent? What is earnest money, right? What other questions would a buyer have before they've bought their property? Before they've endeavored into the process? They haven't even started. They've never met with a real estate agent. Like, what questions would they have?
I think because we have so many, because we host so many events like our brunch or our happy hour for first-time home buyers, I feel like we get a really good idea of people that like are interested in it, but kind of want to debunk some things, kind of have some more confidence in that area.
A good point.
So I feel like most of the questions that we get when we are hosting home buyer happy hours or brunches would be like, is my credit enough? How much do I need to bring to the table? Do I qualify for grants? I feel like the things that are like earnest money deposit,
that's a good
like
one.
loan
Honestly,
program. Like I feel like those are things that like you understand a little bit more when getting into it, but those specific things I feel like are a little bit deeper into the.
I feel like in my brain I didn't even think about that because I wasn't thinking like a first time home buyer. I was kind of thinking like, what are the first steps, right?
Right.
And
as
you
a real
kind
estate
of like
agent.
knocked it out because at our home buyer events, when is our next one? It just got rescheduled.
I think it's September.
September,
right?
Liv?
Yeah, September 30th.
Yep.
September 30th, right after a wedding weekend, home buyer event. Awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Fun-packed weekend.
we're going to have a home buyer event, and we do this so commonly that we get people that come in, and you're right, it is those questions. Somebody asked at the last one, like, if I buy my first house, but my fiance or my significant other has already owned a house, do I no longer qualify? And that's like a really interesting question too, right? Because each person is going to be looked at a little bit differently.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of like other things. I feel like we talk about the same things all the time. Like, what are questions that people have? I wish people could just call in, like, ring. Hello?
We should do that. That's pretty. I guess that's what your lives are like.
Well, yeah, but you have people that ask questions, which is where a lot of our topics come from, but like not right this second. So let me ask you a question. If somebody said to you, do I qualify for grants? What do you say to them?
Usually I say, I don't specifically look at grants. I think, there's one thing to qualify for a grant, like, your credit score is at least this amount, your income is at least this amount. But I feel like as an individual, you have so many other things like your own personal debts,
Right.
things that you show up on your accounts that no one else knows about. You could have 100 subscriptions that you don't even know about that's like,
Right.
like, where is that money going?
And then like, this is where I get into trouble because somebody says like, do I qualify for grants? And I go, yeah, everybody qualifies for a grant. And then our lender yells at me because he's like, stop doing that. But it's like, to me, it's not even worth the conversation. Like, to me, it's like, well, do you want me to say yes and then make you feel good? Or do you want me to say no and make you feel bad? Or do you want to actually have the conversation with the mortgage lender, to your point, that like pulls the credit, pulls the income, figures out exactly where you stand and says, hey, there's this loan program that your income qualifies you for, or your first-time home buyer in Baltimore City, or first-time home buyer in Montgomery County, or first-time home buyer in any county in Maryland or Pennsylvania or DC. There are grant programs, but not everyone fits every person.
Right. 100%. I think there is a program for everybody, but I think you're not there. Like no one's just ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it's narrowing down the type of program that you want to qualify for and working towards that goal, whether that be on your own time and kind of just understanding what you need to qualify, or if it's like being with a professional, like having them help you stay on track of your, like keeping accountability. Like, hey, did you turn in those paperwork? Hey, did you pay off that credit card? Hey, like how far in advance, are certain things.
And something else too, I'm totally going to hate on our client right now. Like, sorry, Antoine, I love you, bro. Like, it's been 3 years of working together. It's amazing. And I'm so happy that he's under contract. But I'm totally going to hate on him right now. So he got in with a big lender. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but like, let's say it's Wells Fargo. Let's say it's USAA. Let's say it's, Rocket Mortgage. One of those like big companies. And for reference, it's not one of those three. Mm-hmm. But he got in with a big lender and they were like, oh, we can give you $10,000 to buy your house. And I kept saying to him, hey man, let's get with a local lender that can help you because I think you would qualify for even more than that. Because I know the grant programs well enough to know that he would qualify for more than that. But let's just say that our lender called me up the next day and was like, dude, stop doing that to me, right? Stop telling them they qualify for more. I know that he qualifies for a specific $10,000 grant in the specific area that he was looking to buy in. Baltimore City, Hartford County, Montgomery County, doesn't matter, like specific community. So he definitely qualifies for a $10,000 grant and maybe more. Plus, he might qualify for lower out-of-pocket costs with no origination fee or other things, but he has to talk to our lender first.
Right.
So Antoine, love you, but he goes, no, I've got a good thing going with my lender, X, Y, Z, I'm happy. And I go, all right, bet, let's go, keep moving forward. Fast forward, and he ends up getting into a grant program that is eligible for any buyer that makes less than 80% of the median income in that community. So in Montgomery County, it's like $140,000. In Baltimore City, it's like 80 something. Right. Like everyone qualifies for this, right? So he qualifies for this program.
Yeah.
And then the lender that he used is like, oh, we need this next level of inspection report. We need to approve this next level of qualification. And it's like, now you're adding a burden to us as a real estate agent, creating an environment that we can't really mitigate, not navigate, but mitigate. We can't control it and eliminate problems because we didn't know in advance what was happening. And so when it's like, oh, how do I this and how do I that? You said get with the mortgage lender. And I'm going to say build your team, whatever your team looks like. And in order to win the Super Bowl, you have to have a really great water boy, right? Like, no offense, call me the water boy. I don't care, right? I don't need to be the special teams coach or the offensive coordinator or the quarterback or whatever. But like, you've got to have a team. It's all got to work together. You can't just like throw it together and be like, I got this and I'm going to do that. And I have this grant and my government is going to pay for X. Like, what if we all came together and said, hey, there's this trolley tour grant in Baltimore City that goes up every 3 or 4 months. And anyone that wants to qualify for it, you could be buying an $800,000 house. I'm pretty sure it might be 600, but still, you could be buying a really awesome house and you could still qualify for $5,000 towards your down payment and closing costs. But if you don't get with your real estate agent first and try and line things up to make that work, you're going to mess it up along the way.
Yeah.
And so like the home buyer events, people will ask questions like, what grant programs do I qualify for? And I go, all of them. Because I want people to sit down with our mortgage lender, like you said.
Yeah. And I think the reason why people have so many questions, I think Ryan's part, or, the lending portion of our event.
Okay.
Event. I guess you could say, what would
like the myths? You brought up the myths. I don't think about that on a regular basis.
Yeah, I feel like that is honestly what drives people's it's their peak of like interest, because at the end of the day, it's money.
Maybe we should double down on that, Liv. we should like expedite the process and then like skip right to the fun part.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem, and this goes back to like house hacking and investments and, 0% down and all this other bullshit that you see on social media. And it's not to say that social media is bad. I mean, fuck, this is a social media. But it's funny now that I think about it. But it's not to say that social media is bad. It's just that it's misleading, right? And it's kind of like painting a picture of something that isn't attainable. Like it is attainable,
definitely attainable,
but it's unique per person.
Yeah.
I think another piece of the puzzle is like when you talk about how you find the right team. How do you know that you're working with the right real estate agent? How do you know that you're working with the right lender? So I'm going to ask you, how would a client know that they're working with the right real estate agent? And you're not allowed to talk about pre-approval. You're not allowed to talk about any kind of like real estate language. So if you do, I'm just going to like buzz you out.
Is that the right one you want to use?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm buzzing you out. How would somebody know that they're working with the right agent?
I mean, I think every agent is different. Every person is different. So it really depends on how you vibe with the person. I think vibe is, I read somewhere that it was like, it was no longer a thing to like describe a situation. Like the vibe is off.
Jesus.
But it is very true. If it's hard for you to communicate overall with a person, what makes you think that business is going to be easier with them?
I love that. Yeah. So what we're saying is if you vibe with the agent, right? Your vibe is your tribe. You're building your tribe. That's the first step.
Yeah.
I can get down with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw a challenge in there and say, is it possible to vibe with somebody if you're a 46-year-old married couple with no kids, no pets, no nothing, vibing with somebody that might be a 24-year-old real estate agent? And or is it possible for somebody that's a 24-year-old looking to buy their first house in the next 2 or 3 or 5 years to vibe with an agent that's been in the business for 25 or 27 years?
100%. I think it comes down to respect. I think if...
Yeah. This is great. This is so much fun. All right.
No, I think when communicating, having a conversation is a mutual respect. You speak, I speak. No one talks over one another. No one's talking at someone. It's, although we are professionals and we are educating, it's also important to respect the person that we're speaking to. Just because they don't understand this specific portion of life, it doesn't mean that they don't deserve respect when getting taught things.
Yeah. It's so funny because as you said it, I was like, well, how would anybody choose anything? Right? Yeah. Like, how would we choose a doctor? How would we choose a lawyer? It's like, we start with like, do I even fucking like the person?
Yeah.
Right? I don't care how old they are, but if they're going to give me information, we need to have a mutual level of respect. I love that.
Like your morals, like when it's very easy to start a conversation with someone and be like, I don't really, like you're not my kind of person.
Right.
Like your morals come out, like everyone's communication changes depending on who they're around.
I love that answer. I'm not gonna lie. All right. So you vibe with somebody, right? You've been to an open house. You vibed with that agent. You went to another open house with your boyfriend, girlfriend. You vibe with that agent, right? And then you like pick up the phone. You call somebody about a house that you're really interested in. Now it's another agent, right? So you've met with 3 people. How would you know that you're with the right agent next? Like, what would be the next thing that a buyer would look for? Maybe it's a first-time home buyer. Maybe it's somebody that's bought in the past. What would they be looking for?
I would say someone that they feel safe approaching with a question that they literally don't even know how to gather. Okay.
Let's define that a little bit better, because I hear it and I agree with you. And I'm going back to like the doctor question, right? Like, I don't want to go to the doctor and ask a question and feel like it's a stupid question.
Right.
It might be a stupid fucking question.
It might be, but not to you.
But you don't want to feel like it. And actually, can I like throw something in there?
Yeah. Sure.
Earlier today, I was talking to one of my buyers, super excited for Rabina and Manav, that they just got under contract this weekend.
Congratulations.
So, woo, right? I was telling them, hey, there's 3 things that you need to do. First is first is deposit. Second is title company, and third is home inspection, right? And they were like talking about the title company. Oh, we've already talked to Courtney. She's going to have a conversation with us today at 1, blah, 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 blah. So I don't really know why we're talking at 1. And I tried to explain it to her. I was like, Courtney's kind of a crazy person, but she's so excited. Like, her job is to sell you on accepting her, but her reality is more like excitement to explain it to you. And she's going to be like, hey, so what do you know about title? And you're going to say nothing. And her gut check response is going to be, oh my God, I love that.
Right.
Not, okay, well, where do we start? And I think to your point, like, you want somebody that approaches the conversation like, oh my God, I love that for us. Do you have 20 minutes to talk? You don't want the real estate agent that goes, okay, so starting from ground zero, this is what we're going to do, right? Like, you don't want that feeling that it's a dumb question.
Right.
All right, I can get down with that.
That you're a burden.
Yeah.
Love the questions.
Yeah.
All right. So if you were to say third thing, now let's get a little bit more technical. Let's find like a reason someone would trust you, but you can't say real estate things. So a reason somebody would choose you over the competition: when we're vibing, we feel comfortable asking the questions, and now what?
Nothing real estate related.
Nothing real estate related. Bam. Do, 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 do. I actually have absolutely nothing in my brain, so don't look at me. I got nothing. I'm like
have anything
literally
else.
like, I really don't even know. If I had to answer, I can't use like market statistics, knowledgeable about the community, blah, 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 blah. Right? If I had to pick something, I would probably say like,
I would say humor, but that's not really like a selling point.
that's a vibe thing,
It
right?
is a vibe.
I'm going to go out and say, I don't want to use this word. I want to find another word. Okay. So we talked about vibe, and then we talked about comfort, and now we're talking about compatibility.
I was gonna say that.
So where I was thinking was like availability, right? Like, are they available for me weekends and holidays and whatever? Not every holiday, right? But like weekends and holidays and whatever's like available for me. But are they going to make it a priority for me to talk to me when I need to be, to show property when I need to be, and to take time away from their family to answer questions? A little thing about me as a real estate agent, I got myself into a spot where I needed someone to help me. I was brand new. Some dude called the office and was like, I want to list my house. And I was like, can I place you on a brief hold? Right? Like, I didn't even know what the fuck to say to this guy. And I put him on hold. I searched for a pen and a piece of paper. And I remember thinking to myself, is there not a pen and a piece of paper in this whole goddamn office? I literally went to the printer and took piece of paper out of the printer. Like, that's how discombobulated I was. Okay. So I got all these notes, right? As much as I could get. And then I called mentor, office manager, and then I didn't feel like I had enough information. And so I called someone else, another woman who I knew in real estate. And I said, I need help. And she was like, okay, hold on 1 second. And I remember feeling like I could feel her through the phone, getting up and walking away from her family to take time to talk to me. And it was like in the evening on a Wednesday or a Friday or something like that. And I could feel it. Like, I could just feel it. I don't know what she was doing, but I could tell that she made my conversation a priority. And I was like, damn. And lo and behold, she was the manager of our old office, and I transitioned to that office shortly thereafter, right? But it was just like this feeling of compatibility, that she was going to be there for me when I needed her. And that proved forward so many times in coaching, in mentorship, in like, you know, and one time she told me, I want you to go get $5 gift cards from Starbucks, and I want you to send them to every non-owner occupant or whatever it was. And I was like, yeah, but that's like a lot of money. Like, I can't afford that. And she literally pulled out her checkbook and wrote me a check for $50 and was like, go get 10 right now. And I was like, okay, right. She was compatible with me. She understood why I was there. And so from the prospect of availability plus understanding me plus the willingness to do what I need to do. I personally think we might have just hit the nail on the head. Yeah. I don't think we could have done that better. Like, people are searching for like, why should I buy a house? It's like, because you should. Shut the fuck up. Move on. Right? But it's like, why should I buy a house with you? Oh, my market knowledge, my expertise, or like my high-end real estate agents out there, my ability to be present for all showings on your property. But, right? Like, what if it was, I understand exactly why you're looking to buy, sell, or move, right? And I'm going to be there for you every step of the way. And when you call me the night before settlement crying, a true story, when you call me worried about numbers or concerned that your financial burden is off because you're not going to be able to settle on this home, or the seller won't make the repairs to the home inspection and you have to be out of your apartment, and where are you going to live? Or my favorite one, my lender, not my lender, don't look at me. The buyer chose another lender from her church, right? And that person promised her that he was going to get this deal done. And then over Labor Day weekend, she didn't have a house to live in. She says, Mike, what do? I said, honestly, I find the lender, I go camp out on his front lawn. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have any answers for you. But it's like the compatibility wasn't there because Labor Day weekend, he didn't answer the phone. It's like, bro, you missed the deadline. Now our buyer's living in the street because you didn't hit the deadline. Fast forward 5 days, she goes to settlement. But still, it's like the compatibility was out of alignment because she wasn't there. And 9 years later or 8 years later, she still calls me like her brother. We still see each other, talk to each other. Her daughter graduated high school. Like, we have a connection because I was there. And that guy, that lender that she chose from her church, she doesn't even talk to anymore. She won't even look at him. Yeah. Because it's like, we're not compatible. So I do think that it's like the vibe, the compatibility, and the comfort. Is that kind of what you would say? The other one was like the not feeling like you're asking stupid questions.
I would say comfort.
I'm about it.
I was gonna say the things of in terms of after they transact with us, like knowing that they chose the right people because of everything that we do after that. But that that's not, that doesn't count. You know, that doesn't reel them in. Oh, unless they know someone that already transacted with us, then that probably reels them in.
So like, let's play this game, right? Okay. A brand new buyer, somebody that might have bought 5 or 10 years ago, had a bad experience with their agent. Someone that's brand new to the business, 19-year-old, just graduated high school, doesn't even know the first thing. We know they're going to choose their real estate based on vibe, comfort, and compatibility. So we're there. Now, we went through the transaction. We're at the end of the transaction. It's settlement day. And they feel like they chose the right agent from settlement day forward. What happens settlement day forward that makes them feel like they chose the right agent? There's a good question.
What happens? I think as a team, you know, we drop off Popeyes 4 times a year.
Okay.
We invite them to
this is what we events. Do. But like, what would be a successful real estate agent in your mind? Like, hey, I chose the right real estate agent because after my settlement, these things have happened, right? You said Popeyes. Cool.
We're still in communication.
Still in communication. I'm going to call that Popeyes.
Popeyes, I mean, yeah, not really communication.
I mean,
it's being present in front of them, but it's not like reaching out. Like, hey.
Well, right. But it all goes together.
How'd that paint turn out? Like, you know, like,
what else? I mean, like, one thing that we do that some agents may or may not do would be keeping up with your equitable position and sharing with you like what's happening in the market, right? So newsletters, market analysis, numbers for your particular property, maybe a market, a benchmark or otherwise. We have the equity review mailer, which is a great content piece turning into be really, really amazing. You know, that follow up as far as the knowledge of the current state of the market. That's probably the second piece, communication and then the knowledge, right? What would be a third thing?
You got it.
So my immediate thing went back to like compatibility, right? They were there for me. Whether it was I created a relationship with a client who I went to do a pop buy, and then they got the pop buy and they sent me a message that was like, hey, been meaning to text you, blah, 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 blah. We had our baby. She's 15 ounces, like super, super premature. And I was like, oh my God, like the outpouring just came out. It was so emotional that I was there, and I've checked on them a couple times because like I care, right? And that's like a compatibility thing. Not only that, but like, what about, hey, I'm thinking about moving my mom into my house. What do I need to do to build in an in-law suite? Or, hey, what kind of equity would we grow if we did this? Or should we think about selling today if we're going to be moving my mom into a smaller property tomorrow, right? Like, how does this conversation go? And it might never net profit, but it might net the conversation that you need as a buyer seller client to make that next decision. So it's like that compatibility of being ready. Again, it's nights, weekends, holidays, right? Like, when are we available when you're available?
Yeah.
I think that's really important. It's funny because the thing that I was targeting was like but a lot of people, buyers, sellers, and clients, as well as real estate agents, believe from the core of who they are that their real estate agent needs to give them a gift at settlement. And I feel like that doesn't bring one fucking absolute little teeny tiny bit of value at all.
Presence is a present.
My presence is a present. I just feel like it's a nice gesture and it's a wonderful welcome opportunity to say thank you. But like, there are real estate agents out there that do, bottles of champagne and fancy things. And my clients look at me and they're like, why don't you do this? And I'm like, that guy's fucking selling a $2 million property. Like, we just settled on a $250,000 house. And oh, by the way, we're going to be here for you when you need us. We're going to be present when you want us. We're going to give you an equity review every single year. We're going to bring value to your life in other ways. But if you want the bottle of champagne, like, I can run to the liquor store real quick. And it's never like, oh yeah, can you please? It's always like, I was just giving you a hard time. Yeah. But the reality is, like, does that guy that's selling the $2 million property provide those other resources? Or are we simply focused on the thing that we're too stupid to realize is actually important or not important? It's the same thing. Like, a first-time home buyer is always focused on like the coolest agent. I'm like, yeah, well, maybe we should be focused on the agent that's going to be available for me, right? An agent that has a full-time job that's only available for me Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday might not be the best fit for me. But the agent that takes appointments, 6 days a week because one day is with their family, whether that's Wednesday or Saturday, I don't care, right? That might be a better fit for me, especially when you go back to your vibe. Oh, I spend every Saturday with my family too. I'm so glad that you do. That's a vibe set. Like, compatibility, I think, is really important for people both before and after. Yeah. And yet in the middle, we're going to get to settlement one way or the other. Yeah. The knowledge is there. There's tons of real estate agents that have great knowledge, tons of real estate agents that have great resources to find the answers to the questions that you have, tons of agents that have the resources to get you the grant programs and other things. So to me, it's not so much about the actual transaction. It's really about the before the transaction, how you got there, and after the transaction, where you're going. Yeah. That's really important.
Yeah.
Because this turned out to be really great.
Because the transaction itself, there's so many things that can go right and wrong, left and right.
Yeah, and there's so many hands in the pot, right? Like, there's two agents, buyer and seller. There's two leaders, right? Office managers, team leaders, whatever that might be, on both sides of the transaction. There's brokers on both sides of the transaction. There's lenders on one side of the transaction. There's a title company that's managing and overseeing the transaction. And oh, by the way, there's parents and family members and everybody else that won't let the deal die. So like, no matter how bad your agent is, you're going to get settlement. I can tell you countless times when the listing agent or the buyer's agent was just awful and it benefited my client. And I just let it happen because it benefits my client. But to not be able to understand the deficit to your client is a problem. And 99% of all buyers and sellers never understand it. So they're counting on their agent, and their agent is poor. So not poor financially, but poor knowledgeably.
As a resource.
As a resource, right? They don't understand. So it's really that they chose the wrong agent before the transaction, that they went through the transaction and they ended up with a poor outcome, in my opinion. And then they have the wrong agent for life. And I think that's the key. There's great agents out there, but if you choose the agent based on they were the agent at the open house, or if you choose the agent based on they were the agent that you were referred to by a friend, or if you choose the agent based on like the online website that you found them from, and you don't lace over any of these other value points, you're probably giving up opportunity to feel more comfortable, more knowledgeable when you leave the transaction than when you started.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! Damn.
Yeah. I have a full-time job.
We're gonna give Heather just a plug there. But at any rate, the thing that's most exciting is kind of just to be, involved in the transaction and having people that understand why we're here. I think it's a big piece of the puzzle to like explain it to people. And if you guys do have any questions about first-time homebuyer questions, of course, you can get onto our website at frankoliverco.com, go onto additional resources under the blog. Today's blog is going to talk a little bit more about first-time homebuyer FAQs, and you can always reach out to us. You know how to get to me at @MichaelFrank___ on Instagram. How are they going to reach out to you?
You guys can reach me on Instagram, TikTok, Andrea_Soto.
Bang. We look forward to chatting with you guys soon. If you want to be a guest on our podcast, hit us up.
Bye, guys.
What's up, guys? Thanks for watching. For more information on the housing market, Real Estate 101, how you can leverage your position in today's market, and so much more, click on the link below. If you like this video or have a burning real estate question you'd like us to answer, leave us a comment and let us know. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode, and we'll see you again real soon.